My wife cheated with her best friend's husband, while I worked 2 jobs. Then I found out my daughter isn't mine, so I took everything back. My 47-year-old ex-wife, who's now 48, left me a year and a half ago for a man who was married to her high school best friend. Some friend she turned out to be, right? My ex and I had been married for 20 years, and had what I believed were 2 children together. I recently discovered that my 6-year-old daughter isn't biologically mine, she's his. My ex knew this from the very beginning of the pregnancy and kept it from me. My name is still on the birth certificate, though, and I fully intend to fight for custody. She may not be my blood, but she's my daughter. That certificate is legally binding, and I've raised her since birth. Clearly, this affair had been going on for a while. Finding out the truth felt like a punch in the gut. When I asked my ex if she chose him or me, she said him, because, in her words, he can get it right back up after sex and go again. That was her only reason. Sex. Forget the fact that I worked 2 jobs to put her through school and continued to work so she could stay home, raise our kids, and cheat on me. I gave up my dreams of a music career for her, so she could chase hers and we could have a family. They were the most important part of my life. My ex has always been cold. She's bipolar, and life with her wasn't easy. Her outbursts and emotional and physical abuse were devastating, but I endured it. I thought she couldn't help it. Turns out, that wasn't the full story. She admitted to friends that she often hit me just because she felt like it or didn't get her way. My kids witnessed this many times, her hitting me, screaming at me, and I never fought back. I hated that they had to see that. Once, near the end of our marriage, she got furious because I didn't take the trash out the second I walked through the door. She grabbed me by the throat and started choking me, right in front of our son. He stood there, frozen, horrified. I looked at her and said, "Our son will always remember this." That's when she let go. I should have left long before that moment. I see that now. I like to think I stayed for the kids, hoping they wouldn't grow up in a broken home. I held on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, my wife would return to the woman I once loved. But those days are long gone, and they've been gone for years. After everything was exposed, my wife sat down with her best friend, the one whose husband she'd been sleeping with, and told her straight to her face, "Yes, it's true. No, I'm not sorry." Then she got up and walked away. Her friend told me what happened. My wife packed up, took the kids, and moved in with him, just a few doors down from the apartment we used to share. Even then, I held on to the hope she'd realize the grass wasn't greener with him. After all, he'd cheated on his own wife multiple times, even before my ex. I waited a full year for her to come back. She kept the keys to our apartment, and I thought maybe it meant she wasn't ready to let go. But at the end of that year, the cruelty started again. He began showing up at the bus stop in the morning, where I was dropping off the kids for school. "I've come to see my daughter off," he'd say. "Not your daughter, mine." I finally snapped and asked him, "Then why were you fine for 5 years letting me raise her? Letting her have my name? Letting me be there at her birth and every moment after? Where were you then? Why is my name on the certificate instead of yours?" That nearly got me punched in the face. Later that night they both showed up drunk. He was looking for a fight. Not long after, my ex decided to make everything public. She went on Facebook, bragging about her new boyfriend. Our mutual friends were stunned. They messaged me, and his wife too. I made sure to screenshot every single post. She didn't seem to care about the mess she'd made, despite the divorce proceedings we had coming up. Then again, why would she? I'd already hit her with a paternity test. Toward the end, I spiraled. I became self-destructive. I kept asking myself what I could have done differently, what I could have done better. She blamed me for not being around, for not being there when she needed me. But if I hadn't worked 2 jobs, how would we have survived? I didn't clean when I got home because I was exhausted, but she screamed at me over the trash. Meanwhile, under her watch, our kids had colored all over the walls, ripped down the blinds, and even put holes in the walls. But somehow, not taking out the trash after working a 16-hour shift was the real issue. The worst part? I still wanted my family back so badly that I kept believing it was all my fault. It took time for me to finally see the truth. Everything started to change because of my brother. He was determined to get me to play in his band. Even though I turned him down at first, he convinced me to at least meet the other band members before deciding. That changed everything. I still said no to joining, but I became friends with the group. Eventually, the rhythm guitarist introduced me to a friend of his, and I began casually dating her. She's 45, and I quickly fell in love. It was a huge relief to finally be in a caring relationship that wasn't a constant screaming match, one that didn't end with me getting hit. Throughout this time, my ex still had keys to our apartment. She would occasionally let herself in to drop off stuff for the kids. The first time she let herself in and saw my new girlfriend there, it went badly. She called me that night, demanding to know who the woman was and why she was in our apartment. I calmly told her that my girlfriend was none of her business. She had moved on, left me, and was now living with someone else. But in the last few months, my ex's behavior has become erratic, especially regarding my new girlfriend. She's even started stalking her. She sent my girlfriend a Facebook friend request and insisted she accept it. When my girlfriend refused, my ex called me in a rage, screaming that I needed to make her accept it, claiming she needed to see what kind of woman I was bringing around our kids. My girlfriend took the phone and told her directly that there was no need for them to be friends. She explained that anything related to the children could be handled through Messenger or by phone, but my ex had no right to be involved in her personal life or social circle. My ex didn't take that well. My girlfriend showed me a flood of new friend requests from people who happened to be mutual friends with my ex. Then, my ex started letting herself into my apartment every weekend, when I wasn't even home. I was on the phone with my girlfriend one of those times while she was at my place, and I heard my ex walk in. My girlfriend calmly asked if there was something she needed. My ex claimed she just wanted to check how much milk was in the fridge for when the kids came over. My girlfriend told her we had it under control, and my ex left. When I got home, I demanded that she return the apartment key since she no longer lived there. Instead, she took my son's keys and had copies made for herself. When my lease ended, my girlfriend suggested I move in with her so we could finally create distance from my ex. My ex tried everything to sabotage the move. She even called the police, claiming I was taking her belongings. But when they asked her to identify anything in the apartment that was hers, she couldn't name a single item. Now we have the kids every other weekend. I found out from my children that they're not allowed to talk about what we do together during visits because Mom doesn't want to hear it. That didn't last long. Now she constantly grills them for details. I'm sure it's jealousy. My girlfriend is very well off, and we live by the beach. When we have the kids, we take short walks to the boardwalk, go on rides, let them play in the sand, or take them to the aquarium. If they come home with prizes, she throws them away. Recently, I noticed something strange. The last few times she dropped off the kids, my ex had started dressing and styling herself just like my girlfriend. She even dyed and cut her hair to match. Whatever we do with the kids, my ex tries to do the exact same thing the following week. If we take them to the beach, she takes them to the beach. If we visit the zoo, she visits the zoo. If we make a specific dinner, she cooks the same thing and demands the kids tell her which version they liked more. Just last week, my son told me he wants to live with us. He said his mom's behavior scares him, that she's unstable. I'm documenting everything for court, and just when I thought she couldn't spiral any further, she proves me wrong. The other night, out of nowhere, my ex started texting me inappropriate pictures. What the hell? My girlfriend was sitting right next to me when they came in. I got defensive immediately and told her I had nothing to do with it, that my ex and I weren't talking like that. I even handed over my phone so she could see for herself. My girlfriend scrolled through the photos, looked at me, and asked for my ex's number. She jokingly said she wanted to send some bears back to show her how it's really done. She ended up calling my ex and asked her straight up what the hell she was doing. I explained to my ex that my girlfriend was right there, saw the messages, and was furious. My ex tried to play it off, saying the pictures were meant for someone else. My girlfriend wasn't having it. She pointed out that my name is at one end of the alphabet, and her boyfriend's is on the opposite end. So how do you accidentally send them to me? Then she asked, so who's the new guy if it wasn't meant for my boyfriend? My ex hung up without answering. I honestly have no idea what game she's playing. It's madness. Let me clear up a few things because I keep seeing comments assuming things that aren't true. First, my girlfriend never sent anything back to my ex. That was just a sarcastic remark in response to the pictures my ex sent. Shirtless, duck-faced selfies taken in a mirror with her phone. My girlfriend laughed at how uncreative and desperate they looked. Second, I no longer live in the apartment I shared with my ex. I've moved in with my girlfriend. Even after I took the keys back, my ex stole my son's and kept making copies to sneak in. That's why no one, not even my kids, has a key to our current place. She has no access. Third, I'm actively fighting for custody of my kids. It's been difficult, especially since I'm not the biological father of my daughter, but I'm listed on her birth certificate, and that gives me legal standing. I'm not giving up. Fourth, my ex was prescribed medication, but I'm starting to question whether she's taking it. Fifth, I always check my kids for signs of abuse. As for her new boyfriend, he actually punched a hole in the wall and told her that if she ever raises a hand to him again, he'll hit back. So, there's that. This past weekend was my daughter's official 6th birthday. It wasn't my weekend to have the kids, so I was shocked when my ex asked if I wanted them for the celebration. Of course I said yes. I even got to keep them for 2 extra days. At first I figured she and her boyfriend had plans and were just pawning the kids off so they could go do whatever. But here's the thing. This was the first time he had the chance to celebrate his daughter's birthday. And instead of doing something special with her, they handed her off to me and my girlfriend. Am I the only one who finds that incredibly messed up? Just when I thought the drama might ease up, I got a text from my ex on Saturday night. She was clearly drunk, ranting about how she hopes I'm effing happy that I won. I probably should have ignored her, but I asked what she was even talking about. Her response made no sense at all. Then she told me to go ahead and gloat times 10, claiming something had happened to her and accusing me of being in on it. I asked what exactly I was supposedly in on, but instead of answering, she launched into a rant about how all men are pigs and can't be trusted. From that, I gathered 2 things. 1, she was definitely drunk again, and 2, the guy she left me for had cheated on her. I didn't respond. When she's like that, anything I say becomes fuel for a fight. So I just read her texts and thought to myself, she got exactly what she deserved. She left me for a man who was already married, someone who had cheated on his wife multiple times before, and with her being affair number 3. When I pointed this out back when she was leaving me, she said, I know what I'm getting into. I guess she thought she'd be the one to change him. Once she ran out of insults, she turned her attention to my girlfriend, calling her ugly as fucko, and saying I could have had anyone but chose someone ugly to replace her. Truth is, my girlfriend is beautiful, inside and out, and yeah, my ex is clearly jealous. Long before all this, my ex's jealousy had already crossed the line. She stalked my girlfriend, mimicked her appearance, and made sure I knew she disapproved. She'd say things like, "You don't really love her. She's just a rebound." According to her, there was no way I could fall for the first woman I dated after our breakup. But here's the truth. My ex and I had already been separated for a full year before I met my current girlfriend. It took time for me to feel safe enough to trust someone again. That trust wasn't handed over easily. It was earned. Still, my ex pushed further, accusing me of only being with my girlfriend because I lost my apartment and needed a place to stay. According to her, it's only love when you're homeless. For the record, I had my own apartment across the street from my ex. She stayed in the same complex just to flaunt her new relationship in my face every single day. When my lease was up, I chose to move in with my girlfriend and transfer my job to a different location. My ex clearly wanted to provoke me, but I wasn't giving her what she wanted. Just when I thought her attacks couldn't get any more childish, she texted saying she was sorry she wasn't enough for me. I wanted so badly to call and scream that it was me who wasn't enough for her. Did she forget which one of us walked out the door? Which one of us left, and immediately replaced the other with someone else? She left me for a married man, a man who had cheated on his wife multiple times. Real winner, right? Then she turned her attacks back on my girlfriend again, saying we both knew she, my ex, was the one I truly wanted, that my girlfriend couldn't compare to her. That was the final straw. I told her to contact me when she was sober and in a better headspace. Then I turned off my phone. Later that night, when my girlfriend came home, she noticed something was wrong. I warned her she was going to get mad, then handed her my phone and told her to read the texts. She read them, laughed her ass off, and handed my phone back. "Looks like he cheated," she said. I nodded and tried to reassure her, worried that all the nasty comments from my ex might make her feel insecure. But they didn't faze her one bit. She told me my ex's narcissistic behavior always comes out when she's drunk, and guessed she was probably hoping to come crawling back to me for a revenge hookup. I haven't heard anything else from my ex since. My guess? Like always, she read those texts the next day and felt ashamed. I wouldn't be surprised if she went crawling back to him. She can't stand being alone. 20 years of abuse left lasting scars that I'm still trying to work through. No matter what I did, I was always wrong. Even when I was right, I was wrong. For making her feel stupid, or disagreeing with her. I see now that this was all narcissistic guilt tripping. A lot of it was subconscious. I didn't even realize how much I was walking on eggshells. Even now, when my phone goes off, I instinctively say who it is and show my girlfriend the screen, just like I used to do to avoid fights and accusations. I know I don't have to do that anymore, but it's a hard habit to break. When I do it, my girlfriend usually doesn't even glance at the screen. She just says, "You're doing it again." And here's the messed up part. If she doesn't look, I feel like she didn't verify that I'm telling the truth. Then I start worrying that maybe it'll come back to bite me later. Deep down, I know it won't, but undoing all that mental conditioning is tough. There's a mountain of emotional baggage I'm still unpacking, and eventually, I'll get there. But that's the hardest part, isn't it? Healing from all of it. Not just the cheating, but breaking the toxic patterns you were trained to live by. Just when you think you've reclaimed your peace, you get into a new relationship, and suddenly the floodgates open. You catch yourself doing all the things you did in your last relationship just to avoid conflict, instead of simply being yourself. It's a long, brutal road to recovery. As predicted, my ex got cheated on by the man she left me for, and also, as expected, they got back together 3 days later. No surprise there. She has no one else to fall back on, so now she's stuck with him. Since that last incident, I haven't heard from her, aside from needing her signature on a few documents related to the house. Just to make her feel special and included. That little gesture meant everything to my daughter. She lit up with excitement. But of course my ex found out and wasn't happy. She called me, furious that I'd copied her. I didn't even bother arguing. At this point, it's just another example of how she sees everything as a competition, even parenting. As for the divorce, communication is strictly limited to documents and matters concerning the kids, and honestly, I'm grateful for that. But I know it's only a matter of time before she gets drunk and sends me another rambling, "You're the ultimate piece of crap" text. It's become a cycle. Every time I think it's over, she finds another way to stir up drama. Halloween hit a nerve this year. My band was asked to perform at an annual event one of my friends organizes. It's a tradition I've been part of for years. My ex used to come with me before everything fell apart. Last year, she didn't show up because it was right after I found out she'd been cheating on me with my best friend and that my now 6-year-old daughter wasn't biologically mine. This year, she wasn't invited, but she showed up anyway, with the same guy she left me for, the one who also cheated on her, and she brought the kids. I was livid. These events are strictly adults only, and she knows that. I genuinely believe she brought them just to cause problems, maybe even to get me kicked out. Security stopped her at the entrance and told her she couldn't come in. She argued, shouting that the kids wanted to see their dad perform. Then security came to me, saying I needed to handle it. Meanwhile, she's yelling at me for choosing a party over my kids. My friend who organized the event tried to de-escalate. He told her she could stay and watch me perform 2 songs. Then she had to leave, or he'd call the cops. I told him not to make exceptions for her, but he said he was doing it for the kids. The whole thing threw me off. I was trying to perform while all this chaos was happening in the background. Between sets, I started to get bits and pieces of what had gone down. Apparently, my ex tried to start a fight with my girlfriend. It didn't end well, for her. My girlfriend stood her ground and called her out for using the kids to manipulate the situation. A lot of people witnessed it. When I came off stage, several people told me what had happened and pointed me toward where it went down. By the time I got there, the argument was over, but my ex was glaring at my girlfriend from across the room like she wanted to kill her. Then came the kicker. My daughter, innocently and loudly, told everyone within earshot that she has 2 daddies, me and her mommy's boyfriend, who is actually her real daddy. My ex turned red with embarrassment and muttered something like, "Thanks for making me look like trash." She stormed out after that, but my son refused to go with her. He argued and begged to stay with me. Her boyfriend came over and found my girlfriend, asking if we could keep him for the night. She agreed. She coordinated with my friend to make sure my son stayed by her side for the rest of the party. We ended up taking him home the following night. That night wrecked me emotionally. I kept apologizing to my girlfriend, my son, and my friend for dragging them into that mess. I couldn't focus on my set. I screwed up every song because I kept scanning the crowd, terrified that a physical fight might break out. I had no idea until after the show that my ex had taken off and left my son behind. When I took him home the next day, she made sure not to be there. Her boyfriend was the one who answered the door. He told me she didn't want a confrontation. He even apologized for everything and tried talking to me about how she's been acting lately. I shut that down quick. I told him I wasn't getting into it and left. Later that night my son called me. He said they were fighting again, this time about me. Her boyfriend had finally had enough of her games. He accused her of not being over me. According to my son, he asked her, "What's really bothering you? That he moved on and you can't crawl back? Or that if you hadn't left him when you did, he might have left you for her eventually?" That question apparently set her off. I could hear them screaming in the background while I stayed on the phone with my son, trying to keep him calm. I asked if he needed me to come get him. He said no. I stayed on the line until things quieted down. So yeah, that's where things stand. I'm still in the middle of the divorce, still pushing forward. But I've stopped looking back. I just want to get my kids out of there, and I'm fighting like hell to do that. My 6-year-old daughter kept talking about the elf her mom had at home, so my girlfriend got one for our house too, to make her feel included. But even in those light-hearted moments, I noticed patterns. Her mother had taught her more than just traditions. She'd trained our daughter to mock, bully, and blame my son for everything. My son confessed that he's constantly being yelled at, blamed, and isolated when he's at their house. The boyfriend's kids don't treat him like a sibling, they treat him like the enemy, and my daughter, influenced by all of it, copies them. That explains why she lies about him hitting her, even when he's nowhere near her. It explains the attitude, the rage, and especially her breakdown over the elf. The elf to her wasn't a fun tradition. It was a threat, a spy, something that would report her behavior to Santa and expose all the things she's being told to hide or manipulate. That tantrum wasn't just about a toy. It was fear, guilt, conditioning, and it broke my heart. I never imagined I'd be uncovering this kind of chaos. My daughter's behavioral issues, the lying, the anger, it's all tied to a toxic environment that's warping her sense of right and wrong. And my son? He's been suffering in silence, trying to protect me from the truth, while taking the emotional hits no child should have to endure. When we got back from dinner that night, I sat both of them down again. My daughter was still defiant. When I asked why she behaves badly, why she lies and hurts others, she just looked me dead in the eye and growled, "Because I don't want to." That moment hit me like a brick. It was chilling. This isn't just a phase. This is something deeper, something broken. So I did what I had to do. I took away the TV. I took away video games. I'm not letting this slide, and I'm not letting her grow up thinking this is normal. Discipline is one thing, but this goes beyond that. I need professional help for both of them. So my daughter's outburst over the elf on the shelf has turned into a much bigger revelation. After the meltdown, I started digging into why that elf sparked such an extreme reaction, and what I found has unraveled everything I thought I understood. To recap, over the weekend, my girlfriend and I got my daughter an elf on the shelf. She had been going on and on about how much she loved the one at her mom's house, so we thought she'd be thrilled. Instead, she exploded. She screamed at the elf, saying it lies, and she was going to tell Santa it was bad. She raged like the thing had betrayed her. It made me question, why was the elf at our house so terrifying, but the one at her mom's was adored? I didn't get any real answers. But that night we had dinner with my girlfriend's ex-stepmother. Her dad had cheated, but instead of siding with him, my girlfriend stayed close with the woman he'd betrayed. That loyalty told me everything I needed to know about the kind of person my girlfriend is, her integrity, her empathy, and in contrast, it made me question even more about the world my kids are currently trapped in. During dinner, the stepmother briefly mentioned that my girlfriend had endured abuse at the hands of a stepfather on her mom's side. My son visibly flinched. He didn't say anything then, but I saw it. Later, on the car ride home, he couldn't hold it in anymore. He spilled everything. Apparently, the ex-wife of my ex's new boyfriend has been making it her mission to ruin their lives, and my son has been caught in the crossfire. Her kids, his new girlfriend's children, have taken it out on him. Why? Because he's the son of the woman who stole their dad. They torment him, mock him, push him aside. And my daughter, who spends all her time around these kids, follows suit. She's being taught that lying, manipulating, and bullying are okay, as long as it hurts the enemy. My son said it's relentless. He's blamed for everything, excluded, picked on, and when he tries to defend himself, he's the one who gets punished. It all makes sense now. My daughter's lies, her aggression, her need to cover things up and lash out when cornered. She's scared. She's trying to survive by aligning herself with those who have the most power in that toxic house. I didn't see it coming, but now that I have, I'm not going to ignore it. I've already started looking for a therapist for both of them. I want to give them a safe place to talk about what's happening when I'm not around. Because clearly what's going on over there is worse than I ever imagined. And I'm not going to sit back while my kids get emotionally wrecked in a war they never chose. People online have judged me too, but at least I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. She wanted the world to see her as graceful, mature, composed. But behind closed doors, nothing could be further from the truth. When I asked my daughter why she was being so cruel to her brother, mocking him, blaming him, joining in with the others, she shrugged and said, "It's a game." I told her straight up that it wasn't a game. It was mean, and it wasn't fair to her brother. She burst into tears, wailing that I didn't want her to have any fun. Classic tantrum. I stayed calm and told her, "No, this is going to stop." Her response? She rolled her eyes and said, "But I don't want to. It's fun." What the hell? I warned her that if it continues, I'm not playing nice anymore. She mistreats her brother again and everything goes. TV, toys, games, everything. She had another meltdown, but I didn't budge. I've had enough of this behavior being tolerated in that other house and dragging it into mine. When I dropped them off, I confronted my ex about everything. She admitted the OBS, the other betrayed spouse, has been doing everything she can to make their lives miserable, sabotaging side jobs, messing with their schedules, costing them money. She said Christmas was going to be rough for them because of it. I told her I don't care about that. I care about our son being bullied and our daughter being turned into another pawn in this twisted mess. And you know what she said? "There's only so much I can do. I can't watch them all the time." No, hell no. If she knows it's happening, she needs to do something about it. But she's not. That much is clear. She's letting it happen. None of the kids in that house are being corrected. My daughter thinks she can behave however she wants here and not face consequences, because no one holds her accountable over there. Every other weekend I have to reteach her everything. It's like starting from scratch every time. And that explains the elf, doesn't it? She doesn't fear the one at her mom's house because nothing ever happens to her there, but she fears mine, because at my house, there are rules, discipline, boundaries. She knows I don't let things slide. My son confirmed it. There's no structure over there. No one's guiding these kids. They're just running wild, copying whatever chaos they see. So yeah, now I've got a new problem. The OBS. She's fueling all this drama from the shadows, using her kids as weapons to get back at my ex, and my son is the collateral damage. I'm absolutely using this in court. My kids are being emotionally and psychologically abused, and I'm done staying quiet about it. I'm going for custody of both of my kids. Not that I wasn't already, but now I've got even more to bring forward. This all just reinforces everything I've suspected. My daughter doesn't fear consequences there because there aren't any. She's learning that behavior has no limits, no repercussions. Meanwhile, my son is enduring non-stop harassment simply for existing. And the fact that my ex admits to it but throws her hands up like she's helpless, that's not parenting. That's negligence. She says, "There's only so much I can do." No, there's plenty she could do, but she won't. So now it's up to me, and I will. Today, it officially ended. We sat on a Zoom court call and finalized the divorce. It all happened in a haze. I'd imagined this moment 1,000 times over the last year, and suddenly it was here. It took 5 minutes. 5 minutes to end 20 years of marriage. Neither of us contested anything. She wasn't asking for anything, not that she could after the paternity test. A few routine questions were asked, mostly of her. I was asked if there was any chance of saving the marriage. I said no. I was asked if I wanted to proceed today. Yes. That was that. What did amuse me was when they asked her if there were any domestic violence issues or abuse, and she said no. No one even asked me. I guess it didn't matter at this point, but I sure as hell remember all the times I was hit. I guess the system didn't. Still, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. It's over. The only thing left now is family court for custody, and based on everything that's happening, things are starting to lean in my favor. Exactly 5 minutes after court ended, she posted about it on Facebook. I know this because my phone lit up with messages from friends sending me screenshots. She posted something about how divorce is hard, but we need to set a good example for our kids. She even tagged me. Big mistake. My friends lit her up in the comments. told her the better example would have been not airing it on social media for clout and sympathy. I guess I can't judge too hard. I'm here telling my story to a bunch of strangers too. But I'm not pretending. I'm not polishing the truth to make myself look good. I'm just telling it how it is. It was ugly. It was honest. And I told myself it was finally over. But it's not, because her fingerprints are still everywhere. The divorce didn't end it. Even after she moved in with him, she remains entangled in my life, especially through our kids. I waited hours before I posted that last update, mostly because I didn't know what I was feeling. Blank. Numb. Like something ended, but nothing had really begun yet. And even though none of you know me personally, it felt better just getting it out. It's been a while, and I appreciate everyone who reached out. Truth is, I've just been in a headspace. Overwhelmed, tired, and not really in the mood to share. The divorce was finalized last month, one mountain down. Christmas was mostly good, except for my ex losing her job, and the AP, the guy she left me for, isn't making enough money to cover everything. So she came to me for help with the kids. 3 days before Christmas, I wanted to tell her to kick rocks. I wanted her to face the consequences of everything she's done. Me and my girlfriend had to scramble to find decent gifts. Most of the stores were already picked clean. And before anyone says I should have left her to suffer and let the kids see her for who she really is, believe me, I wanted to. I almost did, but I couldn't do that to my kids. Not on Christmas. I told her it was a one-time thing. I wouldn't help her again. When she came to get the presents, she asked to come in, said she wanted to see where the kids slept. I told her that wasn't a good idea. She pushed back, saying it wasn't a request, that it was her right as their mother. She tried to step around me. That's when my girlfriend stepped in, got right in her face and told her flat out that she was not stepping 1 foot into her house. If she had any issues, she could call whoever she wanted, but she was not getting in. My ex backed down. I spent the rest of the night trying to calm my girlfriend down from wanting to rip my ex's face off. But honestly, she had every right to be that angry. The truth is, my girlfriend has her completely shut out. My ex tries. She fails. Then she screams to anyone who'll listen about how unfair it is that she's cut out. But the reality is, when the kids are with me, our life doesn't involve her anymore. My girlfriend made that clear. This is her house. My ex has no say, no role, and no power here. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I've let my girlfriend take the reins in these situations. She's immune to my ex's manipulation, something I never was. When my ex tries to guilt me, my girlfriend's a stone wall, an unmovable force. Since that day, my ex hasn't dared to pull another stunt. We've got the kids in therapy now. Things have escalated, especially with my daughter. We installed a camera in the living room. It's been catching a lot. My daughter lying. My daughter hitting my son, screaming that he hit her when he didn't. We've confronted her, and she's learning that the lies don't fly here. My son's frustrated. Court is dragging, and he's desperate to live with me full-time. He's acting out at his mom's, yelling, punching walls, arguing. I know what he's feeling. I know he wants out. I'm doing everything I can to make that happen. He and my girlfriend are bonded, which helps. At least I don't have to worry about conflict between them. But just as I started to breathe, a new problem cropped up. My girlfriend's ex-boyfriend suddenly started stalking her. And hilariously, that was brought to my attention by another one of her exes, my bandmate, the guy who introduced me to her in the first place. Apparently, he reached out to the stalker to tell him to move on, that she's happy now. And this dude lost it. His brilliant reaction? He crashed his car into a guardrail trying to off himself. Yeah, more crazy in my life. I don't even know anymore. Should I laugh, cry, or sell tickets? D-Day was over 2 years ago. The divorce? Finalized 4 months back. She's still with the AP. I've been moved on for over a year now, and for the most part, my life is better. So much better. But here I am, 2 years later, still finding out new things. Turns out there was another friend of mine she slept with before the AP. Another betrayal I missed. And yeah, it stung. Not just because of what happened, but because it stretches the timeline of how long I was being played, how long I was blind to it. I know my daughter isn't mine, but now, I'm starting to wonder about my son too. He doesn't look like me. None of his features match mine. Some don't even match hers. And as much as I wonder, I also wonder if I really want to know. I don't think I could survive taking that hit again. Not twice. Maybe ignorance really is bliss. I try to leave her in the past, but she's like a shadow that keeps showing up, reminding me how much of my life was tied to a lie, and no matter how far I move forward, that shadow sometimes still catches up. When kids are involved, you don't really get to walk away clean, not when you're stuck co-parenting until they turn 18. At first I thought maybe I could go without Gray rocking her, that maybe we could coexist amicably for the kids' sake. I wanted to show them we could come together, even after everything. But it didn't work. Funny how the guilty ones are always the most aggressive. She kept attacking, kept trying to blame shift, like it was still my fault. What surprised me most was how she still thought she had control over me, like she could keep calling the shots. And when I didn't give in, she lashed out even harder. She tried using the same manipulation tactics on my girlfriend too. Didn't go well for her. Long story short, my ex learned to keep her distance. My girlfriend doesn't play around. She's dealt with narcissistic sociopaths before, and this isn't her first rodeo. She's a force of nature, and the one person my ex can't bulldoze. Looking back, I know I came out on top. I have a new job, a new home, and a new life. More importantly, I have real love. I'm doing better now than I ever was with my ex. Meanwhile, she's been left to deal with the consequences of her own choices. Not only did she wreck our life together, but she also torched AP's life too, and now his ex-wife is doing everything in her power to make their lives a living hell. It's sad that my kids are caught in the middle of that circus. Their lives have been upended because of it. AP's ex is relentless. She's the definition of hell hath no fury. She hit them hard, especially financially. My ex has come crying to me a few times now, playing the poor victim. She lost her job 6 months ago and hasn't made a single move to find another. She's living off AP, who's being bled dry by his ex. Do I feel bad? Not even a little, but I do hate what it's doing to my kids. I do what I can, for them, only for them. I don't hand my ex a dime, but I will personally take care of what the kids need. I refuse to give her money she could use for alcohol. That's part of why she was fired, her drinking. It's one of many reasons why I'm fighting for custody. And yes, even of the child who isn't biologically mine. I raised her. She's mine in every way that counts. And she needs to be away from that environment. My son, he's changed. There's a deep resentment building toward his mother, and that's on her. She's the one who told him the truth about why we were divorcing. He knows his sister is AP's daughter, and he makes sure everyone knows it. He even told my girlfriend before I could. I was trying not to overwhelm her with all my baggage as a newly divorcing father, but my son was done hiding. The silver lining? His bond with my girlfriend is solid. That's his best friend. There's no tension, no resentment, just love and trust. My daughter, though, she's becoming her mother. She lies. She manipulates. She uses the same tactics and explodes the same way when things don't go her way. She's learning from the best, or the worst, depending on how you look at it. That's why we installed cameras in the house. Sure, I told people it was for security, but they're just as much for truth, and they've been exposing it all. She loves accusing people of being mean to her. She's falsely accused my son of hitting her more than once. But the footage shows everything. Her running up to him, hitting him, then screaming that he hit her. We showed her the footage, and she had a meltdown when she realized she'd been caught. Since then, she stopped making those accusations. Now we're catching her sneaking into things she's not supposed to have, playing both sides against each other. She'll claim someone said she could do or have something when they didn't. More lies, more manipulation, and we're correcting it every time. The cameras are working, but it's not just about monitoring behavior, it's also protection. My ex once tried accusing my girlfriend of hurting the kids. She called me screaming about child abuse after my daughter came home with a bruise. Turns out, our daughter had launched herself off the couch in a game of "the floor is lava," trying to jump to the chair. So I sent the video. It showed the fall, showed us responding, comforting her, cleaning the bruise. It shut down the accusation immediately. And that kind of nonsense only lasted a few weeks before my ex figured out she couldn't play those games anymore. Not with us having video receipts of everything. Yeah, it sucks that it had to go this far, that I had to put up surveillance to protect myself. But you know what? It gives me peace of mind, because she can't twist reality anymore. Not in my house. It also brings me peace when I'm at work. I can check in, see my girlfriend curled up reading a book, playing video games with my son, or chatting with her little brother, who, funny enough, is the same age as my son. Watching those moments helps me trust again, helps me breathe. The cameras aren't just protecting us from false accusations. They're helping me heal, helping me rebuild my sense of safety, trust, and control. After everything I've lived through, that matters more than I can explain.